You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14.
Right now it's 7. A Newton County RV park receives multiple violations for an illegal wastewater system.
Also, our very own Lonnie Walton shows us how the rising cost of eggs is having an impact on one area farmer.
And we have an alert day today dealing with this snow across the area leading to dangerous travel conditions. A look at the road conditions and that snow coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. I'm Elise Snowy.
And I'm Chris Warner. It is coming up on 7:01 on this Wednesday, February the 12th. And we have that alert day today as we are dealing with snow. We had some thunder snow this morning. That led to road conditions deteriorating very quickly.
Yes.
We're going to go over those road conditions, take you on a little tour of the area, show you what we're talking about here in just a few more minutes.
Alrighty, yes. Well, Bright Futures is making a big difference in the community and making sure Joplin students don't go hungry.
KOAM's Melissa Alexis has more.
Heather Hawley kicked off her morning by volunteering her time to filling snack packs with Bright Futures.
Out into the community and giving back.
The Joplin Chamber of Commerce hosted the event, and Hawley says events like these help change a child's life for the better.
It's a little reassurance that the child goes home with a healthy snack that maybe they wouldn't have at home on the weekend.
The Chamber and Bright Futures packed a total of 513 snack packs, something they couldn't do without the help of donations.
We have shelf-stable milk, there was applesauce, granola bars, cereal, all the good stuff.
Pack the bag with as much shelf-stable nutrition as possible. So they get cheese crackers, they get cups of peanut butter, they get milk and cereal.
Amanda Stone, the executive director of Bright Futures, says making these snack packs allows them to tackle food insecurity at Joplin schools. Students in need can get a snack pack over the weekend when they don't have access to school lunch or breakfast.
There's fear, they're afraid, it's a constant feeling of not having enough.
And that's why she and the volunteers do what they do. She says having a nutritious meal helps a student be successful in the classroom.
No kid can be expected to learn, to focus, to grow if they're hungry. If they don't have enough food over the weekend and they come to school on Monday and they're hungry and they're tired, we can't expect them to be successful, and we want them to be.
And not only that, Bright Futures is hosting a granola bar drive.
We have a campaign going right now called Raise the Bar, and we're looking for granola bar donations. Any kind of granola bar in a box, unopened. You can help us raise the bar.
She says they're always looking for food donations and volunteers to help them continue doing the work they do.
We need the food and we need the funds.
Reporting in Joplin, Melissa Alexis, KOAM News.
Now, she says she'll be collecting granola bars for their Raise the Bar campaign at the Joplin High School basketball game on February 18th.
Now, snack packs, a very vital part of what the school district does to, again, help with food insecurity and keep kids fed through the weekend.
Absolutely.
Sure, with some good healthy snacks as well.
Certainly.
And they might need those snack packs because right now, not many people are going to school today. Not many people have to go to work today either. Mm-hmm. And here's why. We have snow. Look at this live look downtown Pittsburgh. We had a little pause in some of the heavier snow, and if you look close enough in front of the camera, look at it. It's picking right back up again. Plow crews have been out, road crews have been out, but unfortunately, we're not done with the snow, and so it just continues to fall right back where they've plowed. And the same from the our camera. It's 7th and Range Line. Got this little icicle right here in front of the camera, but you can see on either side that the roads are still covered out there with snowfall. Actually, I apologize. I'm trying to determine if this camera is frozen, and I think it is. I'll have to see if I can fix that. I don't think it's moving anymore. Our MoDOT camera, at 32nd in Range Line. We are seeing, again, MoDOT's out. The crews are out. They're trying, okay? But it's not done snowing, so we will continue to deal with slick spots. And I want to emphasize, too, we have not just the slush that's beginning to form now, but we had freezing rain, freezing drizzle, and some sleet. So there's still slick spots underneath the snow. You've got to go slow. You got to give yourself time to get where you're going. I-44 cameras around the metro area. You can see again, we've got covered roadways. We've got covered bridges. This is, again, if you're heading this way, you're on 43 south towards Seneca. I-44 says at exit 4. Heading this way, you're heading north toward Joplin, toward 32nd. its loves on the right-hand side, and you can see that bridge is completely covered, and it's a mix across the region as to how road conditions are, so it's another reason to slow down because they're going to be rapidly changing on you. 69 East 520th Avenue, covered roadways there as well, and again, the road crews have been out. It's just this is going on. We still have a fair amount of snow. Again, the heavier snow is off to our east, but we still have some moderate snow mixed in with all of this, and it will continue as we go through at least about noon, and it's led to reduced visibilities out there as well. We have zero visibility in Pittsburgh, across parts of Crawford County, so you got to slow down. And again, if you don't have to be out, which there's a bunch of reasons down there scrolling as to why you shouldn't be out, make sure you're not. On to the future track. Again, it's going to eventually stop. Snow continues through noon, eventually some flurries, and we'll begin to clear out a little bit overnight with very cold temperatures, and very cold temperatures out there right now. We're in the 20s and 30s. We're going to have another look at your forecast here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, Chris, thanks. Well, with this weather, roads are slick. KOAM Shannon Becker is on Missouri 171 at a crash on the bridge over Spring River.
KOAM News Now, Joplin News First. I'm Shannon Becker. We're on Missouri 171, and behind us here, we're actually on the Spring River Bridge. This is a crash occurred about 4:45 this morning. Conditions are deteriorating quickly across the area, which is just as predicted by Doug Hetty, KOAM's chief meteorologist. So the bridge is always ice first. You want to remember that, right? We all remember that. This bridge, it's like ice. It's like a skating rink right now. Non-injury crash. I know at least one pickup truck is slammed into the guardrail here. It is disabled. Also, two other vehicles had slid into the guardrail. So the reason why bridge is ice first is that cold air comes up underneath the asphalt. So you have cold air on top, cold air on bottom. It's an alert day on KOAM News Now. On our morning show, Chris Warner has your forecast for you. It's like I said, it's going down fast. Missouri Southern State University has just canceled classes. I just got a text about 5 minutes ago. So MSSU, when they cancel classes, you know it's going to be a concern, right, out on the roads.
You can, of course, see the road conditions on our website, KOAMNewsNow.com. The Newton County Sheriff has levied or seized property from the Rocky Ridge RV Park. This comes as the city of Joplin is taking legal action against the site for allegedly connecting to the city's sewer system without permission. In a temporary restraining order granted in August, the court ruled Rocky Ridge RV Park was dumping raw sewage into the city of Joplin sanitary sewer system without consent. The judge said the park was reaping a commercial benefit without providing compensation for services. According to court documents submitted to the Circuit Court of Newton County, the city disconnected the RV park sewer connection multiple times. According to those documents, when that sewer main was excavated, it was, quote, fully collapsed with raw sewage seeping into the ground. It created, quote, a significant health hazard. KOAM reached out to the city of Joplin about this matter and has not yet received a statement. We also reached out to the RV park via their advertised phone number and have been unable to get through. Well, landowners and commissioners in Bourbon County, Kansas, step up their fight against solar projects. They're challenging project agreements, saying they harm the county's ability to regulate land use. The solar companies are asking the court to dismiss the case, arguing that the plaintiffs do not have standing and their claims are based on future possibilities. Now, the projects were approved by a county commissioner vote of 2-1 back in October. Since then, the commissioners who supported the solar projects have been voted out and replaced by 2 new commissioners who are also plaintiffs in the lawsuit. Now, so far, the only case settled is with Kingbird Solar. According to court documents, they have agreed to dismiss the agreements with the county. We'll have the full petition on our website, KOAMNewsNow.com. And of course, to be the first to see breaking news, weather, and sports, you can download the KOAM News app. It's available free of charge in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. Just search for the KOAM News app. And those are our top news stories this half hour. Coming up, several hotels across the country are adding a unique experience to their guest stay. Well, topping Nation Watch this morning, a federal agency agrees to stop Elon Musk's cost-cutting department from accessing its data. In a new court filing, the Education Department says it will temporarily block the Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, from obtaining data on federal student aid. Now, the filing blocks DOJ from seeing or using information from federal student aid until next Monday. The decision follows a lawsuit from college students who say DOJ violated privacy laws. Well, a national survey by El Camino Health reveals about 59% of women say a female physician can relate to their concerns, symptoms, and experiences better. But finding a female heart health doctor might not be so easy. According to the U.S. Physician Workforce Data Dashboard, women represent only 17% of cardiologists. El Camino Health says some of the ways to address these issues is not only listening to women's concerns, but also providing preventative care. Well, Southern California is moving forward with recovery efforts after the catastrophic wildfires burned through much of Los Angeles County. Debris removal is happening at a steady pace, and many residents are hoping to start rebuilding in the near future. Fox News' Anna Elopoulos has more on the story.
Instead of just looking to the past, I'm starting to look towards the future.
Recovery efforts continue in Southern California after the devastating wildfires last month. Phase 2 officially began Tuesday with debris removal in Altadena and the Palisades.
The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers is leading the next phase of debris removal with an unwavering commitment of safety, speed, and efficiency.
Governor Gavin Newsom says this is the fastest large-scale debris removal operation in California's history, and precautions are in place to monitor hazardous materials.
We have our own California EPA that is supplementing a lot of that work, including the mobile air monitoring that we're doing as it relates to benzene and arsenic and lead.
He also spoke about rebuilding plans, highlighting how new structures need to be, quote, climate resilient.
It is possible to rebuild and rebuild better, rebuild more strategically, rebuild with redundancies.
But now Los Angeles County residents are bracing for possible flooding due to heavy rains expected later this week. Concrete barriers, sandbags, and other control measures are in place.
And we have hundreds and hundreds of people pre-positioned, rescue teams as well, all across the state.
The Bureau of Sanitation has activated its wet weather plan, putting trucks, generators, and other equipment at the ready.
The Los Angeles wildfires burned through over 40,000 acres and killed more than 24 people. Anna Eliopoulos, Fox News.
And those are our top national stories this morning. Now let's head over to Chris for a quick look at your forecast.
Yeah, we've got deteriorating road conditions across the area still. We've got snow-covered roads out there as the snow continues to fall. We've got a full look at your forecast when we come back. Welcome back to the KOM Morning News on this snowy Wednesday morning, 7:17 now. And the snow's picked back up in Pittsburgh. Which means it's not, again, we're not done with it. We're not going to be done with it for a little while. It will come to an end from west to east, but it will take some time to do that. And you can see, again, road crews plowed Broadway. It did not last very long. As you can see, it's just going right back under the snow again. MoDOT cameras on along I-44 in the metro area. Again, this is Coyote. So if you're heading this way, you're heading south on 43 towards Seneca. This way is north toward Joplin. That's Love's on the right. That bridge is still mostly covered, as is I-44 underneath. I-44 range line. This side, there's a little more snow and slush on the westbound side than the eastbound side. And some, of course, snow down on range line itself. Same over by Main Street. 7th and range line, our camera there, again, it is, I do still believe it is still frozen. I'm trying to make it not frozen, but you can see it still didn't look all that fantastic earlier. MoDOT camera, 20th and range line. Take a look. Here's the other issue we're going to run into as well. It's this slush with the cold air and how cold it's going to get tonight. This stuff will refreeze. All right, it's going to refreeze through the day. It's going to refreeze overnight for sure. So again, you've got to be careful. You've got to slow down out there. And if you don't have to be out, don't. It's not going to be safe. And it's not going to be warm enough for any melting to take place, okay? Not for a couple of days. MoDOT camera, 32nd in range line. It's looking better. The left turn lane, still not fantastic. That's how they usually are. Same with those little right turn island lanes over here. You got to slow down there as well. KDOT camera, 69 Kansas Crossing. So here's that exit out of Kansas Crossing on the 69 heading south toward the intersection up there. And you can see still covered roadways. And we've got the same view from up here just north of that at East 520th Avenue. We got Pittsburgh Ford off to the side. And it is still covered roadways. Most of the state of Kansas covered roadways, and of course that does include the majority of the roadways in our area. And you know, if the highways are covered, okay, you know then that the back roads are going to be even more so. We go on to the Missouri side. Snow up north has had that covered for a while. It is continuing to spread east now toward Lebanon as the snow continues to push off east. And like I said, we had the thunder snow earlier with some of this that led to snowfall rates, very rapid snowfall rates, which is why the roads became covered so quickly. We also have reduced visibilities courtesy the snow that's falling. Still at zero visibility in Pittsburgh, most of Crawford County, northern Cherokee, and into western Barton County. This is reason number 722, I think, at this point, to just not go out today if you absolutely don't have to. Here's a look at the snow. We're going to go section by section. We are getting gaps here and there with flurries, but we're still seeing snow out there across the bulk of southeast Kansas, northeast Oklahoma. It's a mix, even some rain showers, at least on radar in Grove. This may be freezing rain. It may be some showers. We're getting a mix and some sleet out there, snow up around Miami, Veneta, Newata. And again, it's primarily snow on the Missouri side as well, with the heaviest stuff, again, rolling off to the east. So here's a look at it. It's moving east very quickly, but we still have snow back behind all of this that we're going to have to contend with through at least the noon hour, with the snow and a wintry mix before it does eventually begin to turn into some flurries by the afternoon, and skies will gradually clear, and then it'll just be straight up cold overnight tonight into our Thursday morning. See some single digits out there. So that's going to be the other issue we face. Gusty winds today. Early highs in the low 30s, temperatures dropping, wind chills in the teens. Wind chills tonight below zero, up to maybe 5 to 10 below zero. Very cold tomorrow. No melting tomorrow night either. Then we'll warm up Friday into Saturday, and then it gets cold again. And then we're watching another potential round of snow next week. That's a check of your forecast. We're back with more right after this. Well, gardens are becoming a more important part of the hotel experience.
And not just to enjoy the greenery, but to eat fresh foods and take part in activities that give a taste of the relaxation gardening can bring.
Softer foliage like that, more water.
The host of the Netflix show Instant Dream Home, Nick Katsumpis, led a gardening workshop at One Hotel Central Park this past fall, itself a green sanctuary in New York City.
Especially post-pandemic, when you saw so many people yearning for more greenery in their lives, I'm starting to see every hotel, no matter what their focus is, really starting to try to bring more green in some kind of way into their hotel's experience.
Katsumpis partners with One Hotels nationwide for activities like pumpkin planting, carving out the seeds, and creating seasonal decor that's also therapeutic.
For me, it's definitely my form of stress relief, and I think a lot of people see that too.
New Yorker Scott Karoka has signed up a couple times.
It's fun to do these workshops, to be a little creative, get to do things that I probably wouldn't be able to do at home.
The trend has also taken root at hotels with a space to create gardens on more land, like here at Kimpton Masalos Resort and Spa, north of Los Cabos, Mexico. Culinary director Sandro Falbo forages from his expansive gardens throughout the 25,000 square foot property, where we stayed for a special rate, from vegetables
3 years of growing, and this year is going to be a good harvest,
to herbs and flowers.
It's like for a kid in Toys R Us, more or less. It's just the best.
He calls himself the seeds keeper, choosing what's grown to create colorful dishes like salads with more than 30 fresh ingredients.
What I love, for example, it's a tomato that has been just kissed by the sun and eaten by the guests.
The chef also uses distillation to make herbal essence water, delivered to rooms every morning.
People underestimate herbs, and people should put more herbs into the food because herbs are part of the medicinal plant.
In the spa, guests can use dried flowers and herbs to create their own aromatherapy blend, another aspect of a resort where nature stars.
Gardening is also healthy. Studies show it increases exercise, improves diet, mood, and mental health. See, I was watching them garden, and my mood is already greatly improved.
Yeah, very cool to see. Very cool indeed. Well, coming up, the Freeman Walk for Autism date is set. We'll have the details on what you can expect.
And the thunder snow seems to be coming to an end. The snow itself, look at that. It's not. We'll have another look at your forecast and the road conditions when we come back.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. It's currently 7:29. I'm Elise Snowy. Well, the theme is revealed for this year's Freeman 5K and Walk for Autism. It's Under the Sea. Freeman Health System hosts the event to help raise funds for supporting program development and scholarship help at the Bill and Virginia Leffen Center for Autism. Now, 2.2% of the United States population is on the autism spectrum.
Definitely vital. We know the prevalence of autism is now 1 in 36. So, and it's higher in boys. So we have a lot of kids that need to be served. And they definitely need program supplies, things that we can individualize their treatment. So this 5K helps out and buy those things that insurance doesn't cover.
The event is scheduled for Saturday, April 26th, starting in front of the Leffen Center in Joplin. Well, gearheads and community members took in a groundbreaking yesterday for a series of gas station themed cabins. The Petrol Motor Court will be located on Main Street between 3rd and 4th in Galena, right on historic Route 66. The cabins will be modeled after vintage gas stations all the way down to the colors.
Going with the theme of the old vintage, so we're going with blue, green bathrooms. So we're going old style, and they're going to be cozy also. They're not going to have a lot of space. When you come into other rooms, they'll be like, wow, this is a cute little gas station.
Once finished, Petrol Motor Court will feature 10 cabins. Now let's head over to Chris for a quick look at your forecast.
Continuing to deal with snow. Look at it coming down. It had let up a bit across parts of the area, but you can see in Pittsburgh, it's windy, which doesn't help. But now we've got that heavy snow coming down. Plow crews, there they are, leading the way here on Broadway, but the snow just isn't quite done yet, and it's fallen right back over where plow crews have been working. You can see it from our camera at 7th and Rangeline. I told you I'd get it unfrozen, and it's unfrozen, even though it's probably freezing. Okay, it's called, okay. Anyway, you can see also we have the reduced visibilities. That's the thing we have to keep an eye out for now as well. MoDOT camera 32nd in Rangeline. Roads improving a bit, but if you look close enough, I know this camera, it's a little hard to see, but you'll see those snowflakes flying by. And snow, again, not done. We'll talk about that here in just a moment, but we do want to show you. You can actually see it a little better here on the MoDOT camera at 20th in Rangeline. It's still coming down. Roads are still going to be slick. They may look somewhat clear. They are still going to be slick. They're still going to be dangerous, something you do not want to mess around on. Metro I-44 cameras from MoDOT around the city. This is Main Street. This is mile marker 4. So this is down by Petro, Loves, Flying J. This is Pilot. I'm sorry, Pilot's on that end. This one is at Rangeline, and this one is where Flying J Quick Trip is, I-49 heading south to Neosho. And you can see slick spots, snow all over the place out there, especially the bridges and overpasses. KDOT camera, East 520th Avenue, just south of Pittsburgh. Again, covered roadways out there to deal with. And of course, we're also again dealing with reduced visibilities. Here's a look at the snow real quick across the area. Still getting a wintry mix, some freezing rain, sleet down in some of our southern counties out there, and the snow still rolling through. And we have the reduced visibilities from the heavy snow also. They've improved a bit, and you can see where lighter snow is compared to where heavier snow is out there. So you got to slow down, be careful about that. Snow continues through about noon, and then it should begin to taper off. A few flurries this afternoon, and then that'll wrap up over later this evening and overnight, and then temperatures begin to drop as well. Well, another look at your forecast and those current road conditions for you here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, Chris, thanks. Well, egg prices in the 4 states have climbed to more than $5 a dozen. KOAM's Lonnie Walton spoke to a local egg farmer and a consumer to get their take on the rising cost.
Really slowed down on buying them.
Teddy Swims is a resident of Cherokee County. He says he can afford eggs, but when he wants them, he says he's scrambling for too much money.
Chickens aren't any bigger. The eggs are still the same size. They come from the same place, no feathers attached.
Although we don't know for sure if everyone in the 4 states feels the way Mr. Sims does, egg farmer Tiffany Wheeler says customers are coming to her like crazy.
Usually I put the eggs out about 8 o'clock in the morning, and they're sold out by 11. They're definitely a big demand right now with the prices at the stores.
Wheeler says her love for chickens comes from her childhood.
My parents always raised us with chickens, goats, cows, rabbits. I've always been a country girl.
And of course I had to ask her, what about that deadly disease, bird flu?
No, that really doesn't bother me at all.
But what does bother her is other predators.
One of my fears is losing them to chicken hawks. Daily, we have major chicken hawks out here where we live.
Wheeler does what she can to keep prices low.
Local neighborhood Walmart, they're selling them for $5.46 a dozen. We sell them for $4 a dozen.
Sims says things will eventually get back in order. Just give it time. Reporting in Coral Junction, I'm Lonnie Walton, KOAM News.
Wheeler also sells duck and baby chickens, and she says her chickens usually produce fewer eggs in the winter. And that's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. We look into a common question of why we get gray hairs. In Consumer Watch this morning, American whiskey sales are down as threats of a trade war heat up. Domestic sales for whiskey made in the U.S. took a hit last year with high inflation. The Distilled Spirits Council's reports on 2024 U.S. spirit sales showed a drop in domestic sales for the American whiskey category, which include bourbon, rye whiskey, and Tennessee whiskey. The council says the biggest tariff risk is in the European Union, the biggest export market for American whiskeys. And roses are red and potentially expensive this Valentine's Day. A report from Finance Buzz, the national average price for a dozen long-stemmed red roses will cost $90.50 this year, a 2% increase from 2024. The company says the entire agriculture system, from transportation to logistics, contributes to the rising cost of roses. The company also says the costs are likely linked to inflation rather than unpredictable weather like last year. President Trump is setting his sights on getting rid of America's most used coin, the penny. But it won't be easy. Fox's Jared Halpern has more from the White House.
There's definitely something nostalgic about the penny.
It's one of the most ubiquitous items in America, those zinc and copper pennies in our cars, our wallets, and our piggy banks. About 250 billion pennies are now in circulation, but they could become more rare soon, thanks to a new push by President Trump to eliminate them completely. Each 1 cent coin cost about 3.7 cents to produce, costing the U.S. Mint millions of dollars every year. And some folks say they're no longer needed as payments move toward the digital space.
Not really a use for the pennies anymore.
I only really go debit. I'm okay with the penny going away.
But it's not that simple. America has been making pennies for 232 years. And if they suddenly go away, business owners are worried about how they'll handle the small change.
There are taxes we have to include. Most of the price usually winds up with, let's say, 106. or 107.
Some consumers are concerned prices will simply be rounded up, costing them more cash. And there's also an emotional factor that money can't buy, the sentimental value. Coin collectors are now stocking up, anticipating major demand if the penny is discontinued.
Pennies are going to start getting real more valuable, especially the ones with the wheat on the pack.
Of course, if there are no pennies, we'll have to make more nickels. Those cost the mint more than 13 cents apiece. At the White House, Jared Halpern, Fox News.
And those are our top consumer stories. Let's take a look at the market prices before the opening bell.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. It is now 7:43 on this Wednesday morning, and look at this camera, downtown Pittsburgh. It is still snowing, and the winds have been picking up, of course. We have those gusty winds. Now we got the blowing snow, which is still resulting in reduced visibility. Wow. Nobody told me that my little earpiece thing there was sticking out like I was My Favorite Martian. So we've got plow crews. They are trying, but you can see the snow continues to fall. Road conditions are not great. All right, let's break this one down. These are These are cameras from MoDOT along I-44. This one is pointed. This is the bridge over I-44 at Exit 4, where Pilot, Petro, Loves, that area there. So this is heading north toward Joplin. Loves is on this side, which you can't really even see it. And then this is heading south toward 43 and into Seneca. You can see that bridge is covered. I-44 is partially covered there, at least from this perspective. Main Street at exit 6. We still have snow down there. We have it mixed in on I-44 here as well. This is I-44 at 249 and I-49. If we're going to head back south to Neosho or north up to Webb City. You can see snow, especially onto the bridge here as well. And same here. This is I-44 over Range Line. The westbound bridge has more snow on it than the eastbound one does. So, yeah, you've got to be careful out there. Now, our camera, 7th and Range Line. Snow still falling pretty well in Joplin as well. Again, reduced visibilities out there. You can barely even see Dollar Tree here at the shopping center. Roads are still not all that great. You've got to slow down and give yourself braking distance. I think it seems to be the biggest thing because we had that freezing drizzle, freezing rain, and sleet before the snow. And so there are still very slick spots underneath this as well. And the other issue is temperatures are going to drop through the day. This slushy stuff out here is going to freeze. This is what 20th and Range Line looks like right now. And you can still see the snow falling there. Again, the other thing is those reduced visibilities. MoDOT camera, 32nd and Range Line. Roads were looking better. As you can see, they've kind of deteriorated a bit because we're still not done with the snow. This is Kansas Crossing. We could see the little exit lane here coming out of the casino. It's kind of covered back up. Same with 69. It's hard to keep up with this right now until this snow stops. It's going to be difficult. 69 at East 520th Avenue, just south of Pittsburgh. Still covered as well. Kansas, the majority of the state reporting covered roadways, and again, that includes roadways in our immediate area as well. Virtually every major highway out here is covered, so that also means the back roads are as well. We head over to the Missouri side, same situation. Again, I think there's a reporting issue here because this always says clear on this stretch of I-49 between Butler and Nevada. It always says clear. And I guarantee you there's not just suddenly a clear patch of I-49. So we have covered roadways all across southwest Missouri. And of course, those road conditions continuing to deteriorate off to the east as the snow moves off to the east. And as I mentioned, we have those reduced visibilities. You can see where some of the heavier snow is falling because it reduces those visibilities somewhat significantly at times out there. Here's a look at that snow. We'll start in the southeast Kansas. We're getting some clearing, some flurries out there. We're not 100% done yet, but we are seeing at least a little easing up on that snow. Down in northeast Oklahoma, the freezing line out there leading to sleet, freezing rain, some rain, and snow in northeastern Oklahoma. A bit of a mess. And then more snow across southwestern Missouri as well, as that again continues to push off to the north and east. This snow sticking with us about noon. And then it'll begin to kind of break up, maybe a few flurries as we head into the afternoon, and then temperatures just continue to drop. Bitterly cold out there. Our highs today, low 30s, upper 20s. They'll start falling as we head into the afternoon. Wind chills in the teens, down to the teens tonight, so wind chills below zero. Very cold tomorrow and tomorrow night, so no melting taking place. But then we warm up Friday and Saturday. Get cold again Sunday, and we're watching the possibility of more wintry weather and very cold temperatures as we head into next week. That's checking your forecast. We're back with more right after this.
Well, Philadelphia Eagles fans likely had a stress-free time watching the Super Bowl. Their hair might be especially thankful for that one.
But what makes hair turn gray? Jeff Wagner learned when it typically starts and how to keep your color as long as possible.
Like a blanket of snow in February, a topping of white is inevitable from the landscape to our heads.
It was kind of an overnight thing where it really went gray on me, so that was kind of a shock.
When did you start to notice you had some gray hair?
Let's see. I think when my son became a toddler.
There's a correlation there, maybe?
I think so.
For most of us, yeah, it's sort of just gonna happen.
Dr. Sarah Hilwa is a dermatologist with Hennepin Healthcare.
Why does hair turn gray?
Well, gray hair is part of the normal aging process, and it basically is when the pigment, like we have pigment in our skin, we have pigment in our hair, we lose the pigment cells and pigment granules.
Pigment gives our hair color. We lose it as we age, turning hair gray and eventually white, which is our hair's natural color without pigment.
Is there a typical age range when it starts?
So in people of European ancestry, it starts earlier, so usually in the mid-30s.
I think I was about 35 when it really started to come in.
People of African ancestry is usually in the mid-40s. People of Asian ancestry is usually somewhere in between.
Do you think there's other factors that can speed it up or make it happen sooner?
I'm sure there is. I've heard that stress can do it. I don't know if that's true or not, but
I think so.
Presidential pictures at the beginning and end of a term often highlight the salt and pepper side effect of a stressful job.
So similar to other stressors on the body like smoking and all that, emotional or psychological stress also increases aging.
Stress causes a chemical reaction that decreases the amount of pigment made, meaning less coloring for hair.
Things that increases oxidative stress are like UV damage, smoking, chronic illnesses.
So if you want to try to slow the graying process, reduce your stress. Do so with exercise, getting enough sleep, eating a nutrient-rich diet, not smoking, and protecting your hair from UV rays.
There's some low quality evidence that vitamin B5 could be helpful to slow or reverse pigmentation, but that's about as good as we've got right now.
Gray hair might happen sooner.
For me, it was 15, at least the first hair.
Or accumulate faster for certain people, but we all eventually meet at the finish line with a silver medal of sorts.
I've earned it.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good way to put it. You've earned it. Good for you.
So that might explain a little bit. You know, having children is a little stressful. It's a good stress, but it does wear on you.
Yeah.
Also, it's just,
for sure.
you know, I'm
and
getting
just getting older, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a part of life,
It is.
man, you know. Some people feel like they've earned it. My mother, she passed away before she ever got gray, and she got so mad because we had other family members turning gray, and she still wasn't, and they were much younger than her. She was very
it's a privilege if you
It
look
is.
at it that way, more of a glass half full kind of way. It's a privilege to be able to turn gray.
Well, we do have dangerous road conditions out there. Let's take a look on the Kansas side. We have covered roadways across pretty much all of southeast Kansas. That is also the case into southwestern Missouri. So if the major highways are covered, you know any back roads out there aren't going to be any better. We also have the reduced visibilities where we're still getting pockets of heavy snow blending in with some fog out there and that wintry mix. Here's another look real quick. There's the snow across southeast Kansas starting to taper off in some locations. Got a wintry mix, some sleet into northeastern Oklahoma, more snow in southwest Missouri. We're going to have another look at your forecast and the news you need to know right after this.
And here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. Landowners and commissioners in Bourbon County, Kansas step up their fight against solar projects. Now, they're challenging project agreements, saying they harm the county's ability to regulate land use. The solar companies are asking the court to dismiss the case, arguing that the plaintiffs do not have standing and their claims are based on future possibilities. Well, the Newton County Sheriff has levied or seized property from the Rocky Ridge RV Park. Now, this comes as the city of Joplin is taking legal action against the site for allegedly connecting to the city's sewer system without permission. A temporary restraining order was granted in August, and court documents show that the city disconnected the RV park sewer connection multiple times. And the theme is revealed for this year's Freeman 5K and Walk for Autism. It's Under the Sea. Freeman Health System hosts the event to help raise funds for supporting program development and scholarship help at the Bill and Virginia Leffen Center for Autism. The event is scheduled for Saturday, April 26th.
And of course, we have our alert day today. Don't need to remind you the snow is still falling. Roads are covered. Travel is dangerous. Don't go out if you don't have to. We've got highs early in the low 30s, upper 20s. Temperatures falling through the day. Snow starts wrapping up afternoon, becoming some flurries, and eventually it's done. Wind chills today into the teens. Overnight tonight, wind chills will be below zero as temperatures continue to fall into the teens, which means no melting taking place. No melting really going to take place tomorrow either. It's still bitterly cold. And then we get this roller coaster ride of temperatures much warmer Friday and Saturday, cold again Sunday, and we're watching the possibility of additional wintry weather as we head into next week.
Alrighty. Well, hundreds of athletes, coaches, and volunteers took to the hardwood yesterday and again today at Pittsburg State University. Special Olympics Kansas is holding its basketball and cheer competition. Yesterday was the adult competitions, and today will be youth athletes.
Organizers say the athletes are having a blast. The event celebrates athletic skill, teamwork, and the unbreakable spirit for the athletes. So very, very, very cool out there.
Yes.
However, with the youth one, we'll
know.
have to see.
Yes.
You want to check on that, make sure it's still happening today. With a lot of things are closed today.
Pitt State is closed as well.
So do double check on that. You don't want to get out if you don't have to.
Yes.
Well, thank you all so much for letting us put the good into your morning. We'll have the latest on this snow and more when we see you at noon.
Have a great rest of your morning.